I see cars going fast and Lana Del Rey lyrics, I'm not like super chill about it. I'm getting ominous undertones. I don't think the song is about a healthy love. I am thinking about passion. Yet again, passion is a theme that comes up very, very often when I talk about Lana Del Rey lyrics. You have this car that's capable of moving you forward, but it's not. No OTP vibes. None. Pretty ironic that this song is called Love Song. Hi everyone, welcome to this video. On my channel, I analyze song lyrics very in depth through the lens of literary analysis. Today we're going to be analyzing the song Love Song by Lana Del Rey. This is from her album Norman Effing Rockwell. I will make sure to link my Lana Del Rey analyses playlist for you down below. We've done quite a few songs so far and we're definitely going to be doing more. Here's a list of literary terms I may refer to throughout this video, and as always, everything I discuss is my own personal opinion. Music is subjective and I would love to know what you think down below in the comments. Let's get started. There's different types of love. There's mutual love, there's unrequited love, which is so sad. There is different intensities of love, there's different purities of love. When we think about love and love songs, we can also think about power dynamics. Is the love more one-sided? Now this song in particular is a song about love, and it is through the perspective of just one person. While it is a very beautiful song, I don't think this song is about the purest type of love, and the lyrics do make me concerned for the protagonist a little bit. Let's dive into the first verse so I can start explaining to you why I'm saying all these things. Verse 1. In the back seat, I'm your baby. So we start off this verse with a repetition of the lyric in the car. I always say that repetition signifies significance, especially when the repeated lyric is not the song title. So from the beginning, we are imagining a car, right? It's being repeated. To me, that's a clue that a car could metaphorically be very important in this song. So this first line, I get the impression that the protagonist and their love are being intimate, physically intimate, maybe in the back seat of the car. Logistically, there's like more room back there. However, let's talk about the more metaphorical aspect of the back seat. The back seat is for passengers. It's usually for children, maybe like a car seat for like your dog as well. Sometimes you might put the things you bought at the store in the back seat if you don't want to put it in the trunk. The back seat is very much a secondary location in the car. There is no control. The control is if you're in the driver's seat, right? And also in the back seat, your view is a little bit more limited. When you're sitting in the front, you have that big window in front of you, right? If we think about this metaphorically, if you're in the front, you're gonna have some more clues, some more hints about what's to come on this road you're driving on. But if you're in the back seat, you're seeing things as they come. You can't really look ahead that easily. If we want to take this to be even more metaphorical, if you're in the back seat, maybe you're not as intuitive, maybe you're not as aware. When you're in the front seat, maybe you have some more awareness and intuition of what's to come. You're more prepared. We can view this car as a metaphor for one's journey through life. The road ahead is showing you things to come. Also, if both people are in the back seat and these are like lovers, I would not think there's going to be like any other people in the car. So the car, I'm assuming, is going to be stationary. You have this car that's capable of driving, that's capable of moving you forward on this road of life, but it's not. You've taken a pit stop. And it's very important to experience love. So maybe this little pit stop is going to be like nourishing for the protagonist, or it could be a distraction for the protagonist. Maybe when they get back on the road, they're going to go the wrong way. There's many different ways you can look at this metaphorically. Cars are really interesting in a metaphorical sense. There's a lot you can do with like transportation metaphors and car metaphors, but what's being expressed here to me is kind of concerning. We go fast, we go so fast, we don't move. Again, we have repetition of the phrase we go fast. There is a little bit of a difference in the second time we go fast is repeated. There's a qualifier, the word so it's like an increase in intensity of how fast they're going. The speed is really being showcased here, and they're going so fast that it looks like they're not moving. If you look at the line right before this, the protagonist and her love are in the back seat. Logistically, I don't think the car is actually moving. I think that there is movement inside of the car. There is like emotional movement inside of the car. There is physical movement too, probably, but I'm concentrating on the emotional movement. When it says they're going fast, I am thinking about them moving fast emotionally. I am thinking about passion. Yet again, passion is a theme that comes up very, very often when I talk about Lana Del Rey lyrics. Talked about it a lot in Summertime Sadness, Wildflower, Wildfire. Passion is a very interesting thing that Lana's lyrics seem to suggest, and passion is what I'm going to talk about right now. Passion is a very beautiful thing. It's very wonderful if it's balanced. If passion becomes unbalanced, like it did in Summertime Sadness, it can get very dangerous very quickly. So I think that the protagonist and her love are in the throes of passion physically in the backseat, but they're also emotionally going very fast. I do think it's really interesting that the car is stationary right now, but there's so much movement going on in this stationary car. You can also view the car as moving through like different emotional states or different like thought processes. It can be like an emotional journey, not like a life journey. So there's different ways to think about it, but whatever journey you want to interpret this car being on the road of, it's not moving anywhere right now. The main journey is put on hold for this passion pit stop. Passion pit stop is an alliteration, and I love alliteration, so I'm just like really stoked that I said that. Passion pit stop. Trademark. I feel like I should trademark that. That's like a cute name, kind of not in this context. It's like really sad in this context, but like generally. Is it even cute? The phrase "we don't move" is interesting. Literally, when something is moving very fast and someone is observing it from a stationary position, it may not look like they're moving at all. That's one angle of that lyric. The other angle is that they're literally not moving on the main journey that the car was on, but they are moving in a more intangible way in regards to passion. I really love analyzing Lana Del Rey lyrics because we're only on the second line, and look at how many different angles there are to view things, and look how interesting all of these avenues of thought are. Like, I don't know how she does this, but there's just so much packed into like so little. There's so much depth to everything. Another way to think about "we go fast" is in relation to the phrase "fast times." We talked about that phrase when I analyzed the song Coney Island by Taylor Swift. So maybe it's like a live fast, die young sort of scenario going on here as well, which again suggests passion. While I don't think the car is moving in this instance, if we think about a car, if a car is going really, really fast, that's not sustainable because they're gonna run out of gas. They might also miss turns and stuff. It's much more difficult to control things that are going super fast. I believe in a place you take me, make you real proud of your baby. They're stationary in this car, but we're talking about place, right? So the place here is, in my opinion, an emotional place. It's an intangible place. The sort of love the protagonist is experiencing is taking her to an emotional place that, for one reason or another, is nourishing the protagonist. And nourishing is usually a positive word, but when we talk about emotional nourishment, it's not always positive, because if you're in an unbalanced emotional state, you're not necessarily going to find comfort in emotional places that are healthy for you. For example, if you are used to chaotic emotional places, then you would feel comfortable in a chaotic emotional place, right? If some place is very balanced and very quiet and healthy, you may not feel nourished by that because you're not used to it. So the protagonist may feel nourished by this emotional place. They may believe in it, but that doesn't mean it's healthy for them. Maybe it's something that's kind of like scratching an emotional or a psychological itch for them. It's somewhere that feels familiar for them, but I don't think it's a healthy place. I'm assuming that the protagonist is in an unbalanced state herself. That's why the speed that they're moving and the passion involved isn't a red flag to her. It's unbalanced just like she is. So when her unbalanced emotional state meets this unbalanced emotional state, it just can kind of coexist. This kind of reminds me of the song Wildflower, Wildfire by Lana Del Rey off of her Blue Banisters album that I analyzed. If you want to view Wildflower, Wildfire as having the same protagonist that this song has, it would be a really interesting progression, right? Because in Wildflower, Wildfire, the protagonist talks about not wanting to be wild in a destructive way, like a wildfire. They want to be wild in a more balanced way, like a wildflower. That song shows a sort of progression. It shows awareness. But right here in this song, I don't think there's awareness by the protagonist. I think they're very much like in their unbalanced state, and it's kind of overtaking them. Make you real proud of your baby. So I'm getting like some submissive vibes here by the use of the word baby. The submissive vibes to me are not like super concerning. Like whatever, you do you, they're in the throes of passion. What I do find concerning is that the protagonist wants to make their lover like really proud of them. We have to take the whole context of the song into consideration. Do I think it's always a bad thing to like want to make your partner like proud of you? Like in certain contexts, no, right? Like you do you. There's also like physical stuff going on in this scenario, in my opinion. So like, I don't think that's inherently like negative. However, in this context, it is concerning to me because of the diction earlier in this lyric, because of the repetition of fast, because the fact that they're in the back seat, because of the theme of passion that I believe is present here. So to me, power dynamic wise, I don't think that the protagonist has that much power. I think they're giving a lot of power to their love interest, whether they're aware of it or not. The word baby is a term of endearment until it's not, right? Again, it really depends on the context and it really depends on the dynamic of the relationship. Since I'm not viewing this relationship dynamic as balanced, I'm reading that lyric with a more negative connotation. And in this context, since we are talking about an unbalanced emotional state, if we want to extrapolate this a little more, that lyric could also be indicative of the protagonist's self-worth and how they view themselves as well. Because remember, they're believing in this emotional place that they're in. They're not seeing any red flags. They're okay with going this fast. The protagonist of Summertime Sadness also went very, very fast, and they were engaging in some illegal / potentially fail activities while going very fast in cars. So when I see cars going fast in Lana Del Rey lyrics, I'm not like super chill about it. I do view that as a sort of foreshadow. I'm getting like some ominous undertones. So that's why I'm interpreting this lyric in a not so positive way. In your car, I'm a star and I'm burning through you. And that lyric is repeated twice. It's very, very significant that this car is the love interest's car. Everything is happening in the space that the love interest has like ownership over. So that's another indication of the power dynamic at play here. The fact that the protagonist is a star can be viewed as more positive. This showcases her power. A star shines. Someone who is a star, like literally like a movie star or pop star, they're someone very talented. So that's positive, right? It shows that the protagonist has talent, they have power in their talent, and they're able to shine bright. However, stars also have to put on a show. When someone's performing, they're not 100% their true self. They're performing something that's rehearsed with great precision. It's meant to entertain. So the protagonist could be putting on an emotional show for their love. It could be like a show in the context of passion, of the physical activities that they're doing in the backseat of the car. It could be interpreted in a lot of different ways. This does bring forth a little bit of light imagery because stars do sparkle and twinkle. I'm more inclined to view this as like a star as someone who's talented and putting on a show. And again, the context of this song so far makes me want to interpret the word star with a more negative connotation. I would love to know what you guys think, so make sure to comment your perspective down below. But that's where I'm at right now. Now let's look at the phrase, and I'm burning through you. This suggests that she has a power over him in some regard. Scientifically, a star will eventually run out of fuel it has. It'll run out of the energy it has to continue shining and burning, and it'll die. Stars have a shelf life. I know the sun is a star, and I interpret sunlight as very, very positive. However, we're not talking about the sun here. We're talking about a type of star that exists in the night sky in a sort of darkness. So I'm viewing this as not super positive. The word burning to me is interesting here because we're being presented with something that's relatively positive, which is the shining of a star. But then really shortly after, we're having to confront the burning of the star, which is the very thing that's going to cause the death of the star. So that's interesting. That's a very like quick sort of lifespan that we're being presented here. Could it be reflective of the lifespan of this relationship and of this love? Maybe. Could this really not have any significance at all and maybe we're overanalyzing it? It could. I'm just trying to provide different perspectives for you guys, and I'm just trying to leave no stone unturned. I really enjoy analyzing words, so that's why I'm being like extra technical here, but If you think this is too much, if you think this is not fitting into the song, that's completely valid. Remember, everything just depends on your perspective. But for me, I am getting like not chill vibes so far. The protagonist is burning through their lover, through their love interest, and that lyric is repeated twice, which gives me a feeling of like it happening faster and with more intensity. So it's kind of like their fuel is running out faster. This fits really well when we discuss this song in the context of passion, because a lot of times when you're in a passionate like situation that's not healthy, it fizzles out very quickly. So in verse 1, we really do get a sense of things moving very quickly with great intensity and of things running out. If the protagonist is burning so much as a star, they're gonna run out of their fuel much faster. It's like they're aging too fast. It's not natural, right? The passion is overtaking them. This is not a balanced scenario. We also have indication of the power dynamic in this relationship with phrases like you, take me, your baby, make you proud. And again, I understand that in relationships, sometimes one person may want to be more submissive in certain situations. However, if we take into account the entire context, the entire metaphorical nature of this first verse, to me, this power dynamic is a little bit more concerning. There's a lot to discuss in this first verse. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the chorus because it's been like 36 minutes just on this first verse. I don't know how I'm gonna cut all of this down. But yeah, let me know your thoughts about the first verse down below, and we're just gonna drive on into the chorus, but in a balanced way. Oh, be my once in a lifetime. She really wants this love to be the love of her life. She may be saying this to herself as kind of like a cute thought she's having in a private moment. Or she could be saying it out loud as well, asking this person to be her once in a lifetime. I think this is just an internal thought, but the way it's stated suggests to me that the protagonist may be unsure of where she stands with her love interest, because the protagonist is not saying, oh, you're my once in a lifetime. She's saying, be my once in a lifetime. There is nothing concrete or definite about that statement. It's wishful thinking. Lying on your chest in my party dress, I'm an effing mess, but I think that they're in the car when she's lying on her love interest's chest. I'm pretty sure like the entirety of this relationship, whatever they're doing, is taking place in that car. There's really no descriptions of them having a relationship outside of this car, which is metaphorically very significant. The passion is being enclosed in this vehicle, and it's just the pressure is building up in this car, and what happens when pressure builds up? It's going to explode. An emotional explosion, which is not fun at all. Really not. This could also just be a memory, like a literal memory of the protagonist and her love cuddling after a party. She's in her dress. She's a mess because she was at a party. So that could be more literal as well. Depends on how you want to think about it. Oh, thanks for the high life. Perhaps the protagonist's love interest introduced her to finer things in life. Maybe the car that they're in is a luxury car. This could also be referring to an emotional high. It could have a double meaning in that sense. Baby, it's the best, pass the test, and yes, now I'm here with you. This is interesting. Who do you guys think passed the test? Do you think the protagonist passed the test and that's why she's able to be in this relationship? Or did the romantic partner pass a test and the protagonist was like, hey, I will hang out with you in your car? In my opinion, I think the protagonist thinks she passed a test because I don't think she has high self-esteem right now. She's not in an emotionally balanced place. I read it like the protagonist is saying that, you know, I love this high life. Thank you for the high life. She's thanking her love because they're the one responsible for this experience, which to me shows that the protagonist doesn't have power in this relationship. That's why I think she's the one that passed the test to be able to be with her romantic partner. To me, this is someone who is not aware of the very emotionally dangerous place they're in. When you have power dynamics that are skewed in such a grand way, it's a setup for a lot of pain, a lot of emotional pain, maybe even psychological pain. These sorts of dynamics can lead to very toxic relationships. This is a very concerning sort of dynamic to me, and I think it's very interesting and pretty ironic that this song is called Love Song. I don't think this song is about a healthy love. I think this song is about someone being in love when they're not emotionally balanced. I'm not saying that what they're feeling isn't true. It's valid, right? Because they're feeling it, but it's not a sustainable, healthy sort of love. Also, like passing a test is not like romantic or cute or indicative of any sort of healthy relationship dynamic. That's like a very sterile and manipulative phrase to exist within the context of love. To me, that's another sort of clue as to the type of dynamic that's present here. And I would like to think that you would stick around. So they're feeling all these feelings. They're going super fast in this car, literally or metaphorically, but they don't even know if this love interest will stick around. They're daydreaming a lot of this stuff. They're kind of extrapolating it outwards, with the first lyric in this chorus saying, "Be my once in a lifetime." And now they're saying that they would like to think that they would stick around. They're really romanticizing things here. This is giving me some mild Gold Rush by Taylor Swift vibes, except a little bit more somber and like mildly more sinister. We have a lot of intense things going on here, and the fact that the protagonist doesn't even have any indication of whether this love interest is going to stick around. This is a sort of passion that can result in a lot of pain, and it might be fun in the moment, but like you're gonna pay for it. There's gonna be a fallout. And again, I am interpreting this in a pretty negative way due to the diction of this song, but you can interpret it more lightly if that's something that resonates with you. I'm not saying that the way that I interpret it should be the way you think about it. You know, this could be a like softer sort of romanticizing where they have a lot of feelings for this person, and you know, they're just hoping that those feelings are reciprocated. So that's one way to think about it if you want. That personally does not resonate with me because there's so much unbalance going on. And in my opinion, if you're already getting to that degree of passion, like you should ideally have a stronger foundation that this passion is existing on top of. So that's why I am like interpreting this in like a pretty negative way. But again, you don't have to, right? If you want this song to be cuter, feel free to think about it in like the cuter way. The protagonist then goes on to say that she would die to make her love proud. That's a red flag. You know, that could be hyperbolic just to indicate how much I was about to say that it's indicative of how much she loves her romantic interest, but I don't think that's love. Like when you love someone, you want them to be proud of you, but I don't think it would be that intense. This is why I'm saying I think this is just about like self-esteem and self-worth. The taste, the touch, the way we love, it all comes down to make the sound of our love song. The context of this love is something I'm not super chill with, but the last two lines of the chorus are very beautiful. I do think it's beautiful how we have the sense of taste and touch being kind of put together, and you're creating something that is experienced through another sense, through hearing the sound of their love song. Beautiful, that's very poetic. I really enjoy that. I do think that the protagonist is in love, but I don't think it's a healthy, balanced love. I don't know how the love interest feels. I don't really care about the love interest, to be honest. I just care about the protagonist being okay, gaining more power in this dynamic, being on a more equal playing field, and not having that much concerning diction associated with her. I feel like if that happens, then I'll be like more down to ship this relationship. But right now, like no OTP vibes. None. Dream a dream, here's a scene, touch me anywhere cause I'm your baby. Dream a dream could be an allusion to a different song. I think that the lyric dream a dream is an allusion to the song Dream a Little Dream of Me. I'm saying this just because this is a very well-known song and it's what I thought about as soon as I read this lyric. Dream a Little Dream of Me is a song from 1931. It's been sung by a lot of different artists. The screenshot on the right side has a list of some of the artists that have recorded this. The one that I've heard a lot is the one by Doris Day and also by Robbie Williams. I also think the beginning lyric of this song is a sound on TikTok, if I'm not mistaken. Here are the lyrics to Dream a Little Dream of Me. The lyrics to this song can be interpreted as pretty sweet. I do find it interesting that the first lyric is about stars shining bright above you, and we had a lyric about the protagonist being a star earlier in this song. And then it talks about a star fading later on in the third verse. I just thought that was interesting. I'm not saying that it has a direct connection or not. In my opinion, this song is pretty much saying, you know, whatever happens, just dream a little dream of me. Think of me, right? Remember me in some way. And I would argue that's what the protagonist is feeling as well. They really want this love to be reciprocated. I don't think that they're too sure about where their love interest stands. They would really want their love interest to think of them. Please let me know your thoughts about this down below. As always, I would love to hear your perspective. When it says here's a scene, it's kind of like you're in a movie scene, which gives us a more like romantic quality, but also more dreamlike quality. I don't know if this is something that's actually happening or if the protagonist is daydreaming everything. She says, touch me anywhere because I'm your baby. Grab my waist, don't waste any part. I really enjoy the play on words here with the word waste. That's really well done. That's very clever. It sounds like the protagonist really wants to explore and experience all that she can with her love interest. She doesn't want to waste any time or any part of her body either. She wants him to know her and experience her in like every way possible. She's in deep with this, which again, wouldn't necessarily be bad, but in the context of this relationship, the passion is concerning. I believe that you see me for who I am. We have repetition of the phrase I believe. We had this phrase in the previous verse in the chorus. This reminds us that the perspective that we're seeing this relationship is just through the protagonist's eyes, right? And this also reminds us that we don't have confirmation of how this love interest feels. Everything is based on how the protagonist is perceiving it, on what they believe. Protagonist isn't saying that her love interest said any of these things. She's stating her desires and her opinions. She feels seen. She feels like she's seen for who she truly is. That's really beautiful. However, that could explain a little bit why there's so much intensity to this dynamic. The protagonist feels validated by her love, which is important. But I think in certain instances where there's too much unbalance, maybe when there is too much emptiness on one side, not enough self-worth and self-esteem on one side, the need for validation and the need for someone to see you as you truly are, that could be dangerous. Because like, okay, listen, this is gonna be a bit of a tangent. The need for someone to see you for who you truly are is valid, and it's important to find someone who really understands you. However, if you want that or need that or desire that too much, it can lead you to ignore red flags. It can lead you to enter into dynamics that are too unbalanced, and it can be a dangerous thing. Everything has to exist in balance, right? Passion has to exist in balance. Wanting to feel validated and seen has to exist in balance. If something exists too much, it can really lead to a very not chill situation. And unfortunately, I don't think that any of these things are balanced in this song. I think that they're in not chill vibes right now. I think that's what's happening. So spill my clothes on the floor of your new car. Interesting. Again, this whole relationship is literally happening in the car, right? There's movement, but there's also not movement because they're in the back seat, right? I don't think there's like a driver driving them everywhere. Maybe there is, I don't know. This is the high life, so maybe they have a driver, but they're in a vehicle that has a purpose of getting you from one place to another, but they're not really using it for its true purpose. They're not driving it to a new location. They're kind of going off-road and staying put for a little while. So the protagonist feels emotionally close to her love interest because she believes that they see her as who she is. So she also wants to be physically close with them in their new car. The fact that the car is new is interesting to me. Was this a new car the entire time, or did the car become new halfway through the song? I'm not sure, but that's interesting because now we have this whole feeling of going fast and going intense existing alongside a feeling of newness, of like a bright, shiny thing. When I think of a new car, I think of like a bright, shiny car. So it's very much like a live fast, die young sort of vibe. That's what the word new is kind of connoting to me. That's like the vibes it's bringing forth. Is it safe? Is it safe to just be who we are? And then there's repetition of that lyric. That's a very vulnerable lyric. That's very beautiful. I really do enjoy the glimpses we get into the thoughts of the protagonist. They're very vulnerable. I think it allows us to be empathetic towards the protagonist because she just wants to be loved genuinely and seen for who she is. My issue is that I don't know if that's actually happening or if it's just something that the protagonist perceives on her end. And I'm not saying the protagonist is delusional. It's kind of like one-sided friendships. You have person A and person B. Person A thinks that person B is their best friend, but person B has a lot of other friends that they're actually closer to. They view person A over here as more of an acquaintance type friend. These two friends are not valuing this same friendship in the same way. They have different viewpoints. This doesn't mean that either one of them is wrong. So we don't have confirmation of how the love interest feels. I think if there was validation, the protagonist would reveal that. I'm glad that the protagonist feels like she has a sort of relationship where she's seen for who she truly is, but I hope that the feelings and the beliefs go both ways. This car, metaphorically for the protagonist, through her perspective, really seems like it's like a safe space for her to experience intimacy, both physical and emotional, with her love interest. But as like an observer, an objective third-party observer with absolutely no interest in the matter, name that movie. To me, it's a little bit more concerning. Then we have repetition of the chorus, and that's actually the end of the song. While this song is called Love Song, I don't think it's like the happiest love song. I do think the protagonist's feelings and beliefs are valid. However, I don't know if they're reciprocated. I don't believe that this is a balanced love. I don't believe that this is a balanced power dynamic or relationship dynamic. I'm concerned that this love is more of a one-sided thing and something that's going to fizzle out very quickly due to the theme of passion that's kind of quietly underlying this whole song. I would really love to know what your take is on this song. Do you view this as more of a positive love song, or do you kind of view it how I do, as a little bit more somber? I would really love to know your take on it, so make sure to comment it down below. Please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. It would help me out a lot, and make sure to subscribe if you want. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time. Bye!